Okay, let's take a minute to unwrap what's happening today. Remember Prince Harry, the one who famously decided to step back from his royal duties? Well, he was recently spotted in public in Montecito, a posh neighborhood located just north of Los Angeles. You might not have heard of Montecito, but it's known for its affluence and privacy. Two things the prince surely values. We only know about Harry's outing because of some persistent paparazzi who were on the prowl over the holiday weekend. These latest snapshots showcase our favorite royal in his usual fashion, sporting that all-too-familiar serious expression, donning a classic khaki shirt. But what stood out was his company, specifically his adorable 2-year-old daughter, Princess Lilibet, affectionately known as Lily. It's important to note here that this occasion marks a sad first for the tiny princess, her first encounter with the paparazzi. For context, Lily is named after an iconic queen, and this unfortunate first took place in her own backyard, her haven. Her older brother, Prince Archie, had his first run-in with the paparazzi when he was just about 8 months old. At that time, he and his mom, Meghan Markle, were photographed during a casual walk in a park near their home on Vancouver Island. Adding to their distress, they later discovered they were being relentlessly pursued. Paparazzi on their tail in cars, helicopters, and even boats. They've since used this footage in their Netflix documentary series. After a few months, they moved again, this time to a borrowed mansion in Beverly Hills. But the paparazzi were relentless, using drones and helicopters to fly over the property, trying to get shots of the family. The Netflix series, which caters to those with a strong stomach and those keen on gathering tips on handling public scrutiny, showed a visibly upset Meghan recounting how Archie was rudely awakened at 5 a.m. by overhead helicopters. The couple later revealed in a privacy lawsuit that these helicopters plagued their lives daily, flying over their yard from 5:30 a.m. till 7 p.m., disrupting their neighbors, waking their child, and even leading some to damage the security fence in an attempt to get a peek. In the face of such relentless invasions of privacy, Meghan and Harry decided to fight back. They took legal action over the incidents at their Canadian park home and these intrusive flights over their property. In both instances, they came out on top. But little did they know that this was only the beginning of a protracted battle with the paparazzi. Fast forward to 2020, when the couple decided to buy their own home. Almost instantly, rumors started circulating that their new neighbors were bulking up on security measures, and paparazzi were reportedly staking out their residence from a nearby mall. It's like the paparazzi were saying, "Welcome to your Californian childhood." Now, I feel it's crucial to underline a particular point here. You might have your opinions about Meghan and Harry, and Lord knows we've talked about them at length, but one thing is clear as day. Their love for their children is undeniable. They left the UK for the USA seeking freedom and hoping to provide a better future for their kids. Still, it's hard not to notice the repercussions this decision has had on Archie and Lily's lives, particularly regarding their privacy or lack thereof. When you contrast this with the lives of their royal cousins, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, the stark differences become apparent. The UK royal kids will never know the torment of having paparazzi hound them daily, even though they too have their share of public duties, such as waving from horse-drawn carriages at official events and posing for annual birthday photos. These official photos, often taken by their mother, Catherine, in the safety of their own backyard, are a far cry from the relentless surveillance faced by Archie and Lily. Sure, George, Charlotte, and Louis have an obligation to share parts of their lives with the public, but it's an obligation meted out under the controlled conditions set by William and Catherine. In stark contrast, Archie and Lily will grow up knowing that every time they step outside the security of their home, they become fair game for the prying eyes of the paparazzi. Let me stress, though, that I'm not endorsing this invasive behavior by any means. Here's where we encounter a sad truth. The press restrictions that are enforced in the UK to protect the privacy of children don't apply in the US. This means that our American-born prince and princess will grow up under a different set of rules. To put this into perspective, during the first year of his life, Prince George also had run-ins with the paparazzi in London. To counteract this, his parents struck a deal with the paparazzi, In exchange for a few staged photos of their young son, the paparazzi would agree not to hound their child relentlessly. Nowadays, it's mostly German and Italian tabloids that publish candid paparazzi shots of the royal kids, but the UK press tends to steer clear. There was an exception in 2021 when William, Catherine, and their 3 children were photographed during a family outing for lunch. Since William and Catherine didn't file a complaint, it's safe to assume they didn't mind this particular intrusion. However, there has never been an instance where George, Charlotte, or Louis were photographed during personal moments, like being dropped off or picked up from school. But this has happened to Archie despite his younger age. It's interesting to note that there's a mutual agreement between the royal family and the UK press not to publish unauthorized photos of the royal kids. This means that William and Catherine have a level of control and protection that Harry and Meghan no longer have since they moved to the United States. The protections that keep us from seeing paparazzi shots of Catherine taking her kids to the grocery store, for example, are not enforced in the US. This leaves Harry and Meghan unable to shield their family from the prying eyes of the media in the same way that William and Catherine can back in the UK. Life isn't entirely perfect for the royals back in the UK, but it certainly seems a touch better when it comes to privacy. Take, for instance, the incident on January 20th, 1910, when Harry and Meghan had to abandon their weekend rental in the Cotswolds because the sun managed to snap photos of their backyard. However, their previous official residence, the cottage, was part of the protected Windsor estate and thus offered them a level of privacy they don't have now. The couple's unwavering defense of their family's privacy has resulted in numerous legal battles and escalating legal bills. The lawsuits they filed against Splash and X17 in 2020 were unable to prevent this week's photographs of Harry and Lily living in the US from being taken. This is the reality for the Sussex children. They'll grow up knowing that they could be photographed at any moment. This constant surveillance will be a regular feature of their lives, and they are bound to be objects of public fascination, especially as they grow into teenagers and young adults. Over the past 3 years, Harry and Meghan have been caught by the paparazzi many times while hiking, shopping, doing charity work, disembarking from private jets, and leaving restaurants or offices on both coasts of the United States. There's a chance Meghan might have invited the media during some of these instances, but interestingly, aside from one picture taken at a pub, there hasn't been a single unauthorized or unplanned photo of William, Catherine, and their kids. Isn't it ironic that during a weekend celebrating American independence from British rule, the erosion of Harry and Meghan's privacy in the US suggests that perhaps, just perhaps, freedom might not mean everything it was initially thought to?